So hello everyone from Anfield, and apologies first up if you can't really quite hear me. I'll do my best to speak as loudly as possible here, but of course they're just looking after the Anfield grass here and giving it a good mow after that game. There's a reason it always looks so flawless, and it's because they're straight onto it to look after it. So as I say, those lawnmowers are a little bit noisy, but I'll try and make my voice as clear as possible so you can hear what I've got to say. And what I've got to say today is very positive really. Liverpool of course blowing Bournemouth away, a 3-0 victory here, and exactly what they needed after that 1-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest last time out here. It was a perfect game really. Obviously they had an early scare there with a VAR check for an offside Bournemouth goal that was given in their favour, but that aside really, Liverpool dominant from start to finish in this game and a really promising performance. It also of course takes them top of the Premier League to boot, which I think gives you a good idea of how good Liverpool have been in the start under Arne Slot. Of course Arsenal and Manchester City to face each other tomorrow, and one of those could go top, or could both actually leapfrog Liverpool. But I think for Liverpool to be top of the league after 5 games in the Premier League so far shows you that they haven't really missed a trick under this new manager. That one game against Forest aside, that disappointment, but they've been otherwise very, very good, and as I say, continued that really in the performance here. Thought a very, very good performance, just all over Bournemouth from the start of the game really, and just controlling the game, constant in the threat, not really giving too much up to give Bournemouth any encouragement. And I mean, if you score 3 first half goals, then you pretty much know by that point that the game is won, and that gives you a chance to kind of rest on the ball and for Arne Slot to use his subs. And so a perfect day really for manager and team. And as I say, if you go top of the Premier League after that, then you've got to be happy about it. And I think, you know, talking about the Forest game there, I think, you know, you even look back on that as, you know, yes, it sort of marred the good start that Liverpool have had slightly, but even that is kind of welcome in a sense, because I think it gave Liverpool a test, didn't it? It showed them that it's not going to always be easy under Arne Slot. They have to remember the fundamentals. It gave the manager a test of his man management skills. Can you pick these players up very quickly, ensure that that doesn't affect their confidence? Can you break down a low block at Anfield when a team comes and tries to defend and make it difficult for you? And all these tests, you have to say, over the past week, Arne Slot has absolutely passed. I mean, they fall behind in Milan, bounce straight back to win that game really, really comfortably and absolutely dominant in that. And then again here at Anfield, get the early scare of the offside goal, but just again, confidence isn't knocked. They just play really, really well, dominate the game and come away with a deserved victory. So I think this has been a really, really good week for the manager in terms of establishing that he can pass these tests, he can overcome these hurdles when they're put in front of him. And if you do lose a game like that, a shot game like that at 1-0, then to come back with 3-1 and 3-0 victories back to back, that is for me the absolute perfect response. And I think, you know, Bournemouth are by no means mugs, are they? They've got some really good players. I mean, you saw here, I thought Semenyo was really impressive. Kirkes at left back is a good player. Ouattara, when he came on the pitch as well, really, really dangerous. They can really, really hurt you, and yet Liverpool managed that threat brilliantly. And as I say, got over what was a bad result against Forest by getting straight back to winning ways and to go top of the Premier League. So a happy day really all round. And I think one of the key areas and key elements of them winning this game so comfortably today, and I talked about domination, that came from the midfield, and I really want to focus on that really as a key strength for Liverpool so far this season. They just killed them in there. I mean, Bournemouth lined up in a similar 4-2-3-1 formation, so sometimes when you've got two formations that are the same going up against each other, you can kind of cancel each other out and match each other up in those areas. But it always felt like Liverpool had an extra man. I mean, at times they did really, because Trent Alexander-Arnold kept drifting in there to make that extra man, but Bournemouth at no point seemed to be able to get close or cope with that. Even in the moments where Trent wasn't going in there, Liverpool were just making nice triangles, passing it through Bournemouth. And as I say, the domination of the game really came from there. They won every battle in there. The dirty stuff that you want to do, the tackling, the duels, they did all that. But then obviously the football they played around Bournemouth's midfielders was just out of this world at times, and it's such an important part of the pitch, we know that. But at times under Jurgen Klopp, in the latter part of his reign, he kind of felt like they neglected midfield a little bit and wanted to just be kind of, you know, involved in basketball games where it was end to end. But that control and desire to control games in that part of the pitch has absolutely come back under Slot, and that is 100% what they did in this game, and it was absolutely crucial to them going on to win it. Now of course you can't do that unless the individuals in there play well, and they absolutely did that. I mean, Ryan Gravenberch, 2 out of 2 tackles won, 7 out of 11 duels won, 88% pass accuracy, and just some of the moments of play from him the breathtaking close control, the passes through the lines. He's just got everything. I mean, I keep talking about him in videos because he's been so good this season. And even a game like this, Bournemouth at home, just absolutely outstanding with setting the tone for Liverpool, with his ability to nick the ball and then use it in a really good way and get Liverpool on the front foot immediately. Just thought he was absolutely magnificent again today. And the man alongside him as well really deserves praise, Alexis McAllister. I mean, he's going under the radar, I think, at the moment, because Gravenberch has been a little bit of a surprise package and nobody expected this level of performance from him in that deeper role. We're kind of missing the fact that McAllister's been just as good in that area as well. I mean, today, 4 out of 5 tackles won, 7 out of 13 ground duels won, 2 chances created, and a 93% passing accuracy. Now, the passing accuracy is stunning as well, because some of the balls he played as well, some of the passes, they were risky ones, and there's a couple where he plays Salah through. You have to find those. If you've not seen the highlights of the game or you didn't manage to watch it, go and seek those passes out. Absolutely magnificent passing. And as I say, I think he's going under the radar a little bit at the moment, but those two together, such a nice pairing that complements each other, and they are the basis for everything good that Liverpool do on both sides of the ball. They do the dirty stuff, they win the duels in there, but then they use the ball brilliantly, and I just love the mix they've got and the ability to let one go and attack and the other one holds. Really good understanding. Two very intelligent footballers, and I must say as well that they are helped out in there by Szoboszlai. I mean, not a perfect performance by him by any means today, because I mean sometimes he's a little untidy in the final third, but if he gets that right, shows a little bit more tidiness in those areas. He add in everything else he does in terms of his work rate is brilliant. He almost makes an extra man on both sides of the ball. He's the extra man in attack when he joins the attackers, but also the extra man in defence when you do need a 3 there to really make it difficult for the opposition to pass through you. So I think he deserves a lot of praise for his work rate. Can be a little bit tidier in terms of what he does with the ball, but he's doing a lot of positive things at the moment as well, and it's worth mentioning those, and he is a big part of what they do in midfield and the control that Liverpool are able to exert. Now, in terms of individual performances, another one I want to mention, of course, is Luis Diaz. Brilliant again today. I mean, I keep saying it about him. If he continues to add end product to his game, he will be a world-class all-round winger. He has everything that you need for a winger to be world-class if he keeps adding these goals, and he gets 2 again today. Really well taken finishes. Great touch from the Canate ball over the top for the first one. Keeper makes it easy for him, but he shows the composure. And the second one, passing it in through the legs on his left foot. That's not a finish we've seen from him before. He's showing real composure in the final third. We don't know, is this a purple patch? Is it something he's working on with the manager? We'll have to see. Hopefully he can continue it. But he's got 5 goals in 6 appearances so far this season, and he might not continue to score at that rate, but if he can continue around 1 and 2 or something slightly above that, that would be very good news for Liverpool. And I think his all-round performance today as well, 4 shots, 1 chance created, 94% passing accuracy, 5 out of 8 duels won, 4 recoveries, 3 dribbles completed out of 5. So he's just doing everything on both sides of the ball. As I say, he can be world class if he keeps on scoring and assisting at this rate. And another brilliant performance from him today. I thought man of the match, maybe, in fact. Just great to see him really thriving in this sort of style of football as well, particularly when there were so many questions over his future in the summer as well. So really good start to this season from him, and long may it continue. Now, another individual performance I want to go into as well. I think another talking point from this game, Darwin Nunez starting. Obviously it took until the 6th game of this season for him to get his first start, and you are starting to think at that point, does this manager not quite fancy him? Does he not think that the inconsistency we'd seen under Klopp, does he not think he can get that out of his game? But then he comes in today, kind of a surprise starter really, and I thought did a really good job. I mean, the goal for starters is absolutely brilliant finish, cutting in on his left foot, in off the post, beautiful finish. But so many other elements of his game, good hold-up play, work off the ball, which the manager in particular will love. There's a couple of moments where he nicks the ball off a defender with his closing down and pressing. So, again, if he adds all that into his game and keeps getting the goals, then there's a real shout for him to be that number 9 there, because I think Jota has had a decent start to the season, but again, he hasn't been perfect. So for me, that centre forward role is potentially up for grabs, and it's really interesting to see whether Nunez can really stake a claim there, because I thought a decent performance from him today. Yes, some downsides, but that's been the same with Jota, and I think with Nunez, he's a bit of a handful physically that Jota can't be that, as good as his movement and his finishing is. So you know, possibly that centre forward role is up for debate really, and I thought Nunez didn't do himself any harm there in terms of his performance. Now, just one more I want to check off is to talk about Caoimhin Kelleher. And not a massively busy game for him, but a couple of really good saves in there at key moments. And again, you just never worry about him coming in, do you? When Allister gets these injuries, and he does get injured quite frequently for a goalkeeper, Kelleher just comes in and is flawless in that way, as he was today. Absolutely superb performance, and worth mentioning because, you know, how many clubs have got number 2 goalkeepers who are as good as that and who are able to come in and perform like that at the drop of the hat? I would say not many. So really important today. And just one more point I want to talk on actually before I go, just a side point, not an individual performance but another collective, is we spoke after the game in midweek against Milan about the importance of set pieces and Liverpool scoring twice from them. But again today, Bournemouth get 9 corners and they generate 0.27 expected goals from them. They do actually hit the bar late on from one, but it looked a little bit, from my angle certainly, it looked a bit fortuitous in the way that fell. And I felt largely Liverpool completely neutered Bournemouth's threat from corners, which again, you know, we talk about that need for a set piece coach, or the fact that Liverpool advertise now. It's my understanding they're no longer actually looking for that set piece coach, or they've certainly postponed that search for the moment, because the work that the new coach Aaron Briggs is doing along with the analysts has been so good and so impressive to them that they don't feel that there's a desperate need to add a set piece coach unless an absolutely outstanding candidate comes out. And again, we didn't get 2 goals from them today for Liverpool, but what we did see is that they can really defend set pieces as well. And you know, they haven't conceded from a set piece situation so far this season. And if that continues over the course of a season, it's so important not to give cheap goals away. And they don't even look like doing so, or they didn't certainly for most of the match today. So that is another element of the set piece strength that they showed today that will be just as important as what they do in an attacking sense. And I think credit again to the coaches, to the analysts for the work on that. Really impressive in repelling 9 corners today, because that was a big part of going on to win the game so comfortably as they did. So going to leave it there. As ever, let me know in the comments what you thought about the performance, who was your man of the match, and how have you thought about the way that Liverpool have bounced back from that shock defeat to Nottingham Forest. Pretty impressive as far as I'm concerned. And as usual, if you can like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, always hugely helpful. I'm here at every Anfield game, lucky enough to be here in the press box. We get all that coverage and everything else that's going on around Liverpool as well, and all the key talking points. So do hit that subscribe button if you don't subscribe yet. And as ever, games are coming thick and fast at the moment, aren't they? It's 7 games in 21 days is it at the moment, so more games to come, more coverage of press conferences and matches and all that to come. So looking forward to it, and I'll see you guys very soon.